the second time this week, we're going to hear from Smart Media and YOBSN founder and CEO, David Martin. And David, here's a special request from Mario in New Zealand, who last night listened to a recording of your other webinar. Mario asks, David Martin, can you please blow me away again today? Last time you made me get a glass of water to cool my head down because all of the stuff you mentioned had my mind spinning. Well, Mario, I'm sure David will not just have your mind spinning, but everyone else's as well. Those who've heard David previously are aware we have a man of incredible vision and technical expertise heading up this company. This project has been a massive undertaking for David and also for his extraordinary team of programmers and designers. Something you need to know is that David is passionate about helping as many people as possible around the world to become financially secure. And the great news is that he is constantly thinking of new and innovative ways for us all to be able to make money. With 25 years of experience in the direct sales industry behind me, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that YOBSN has more potential than anything I've ever seen, and definitely regard it as my opportunity of a lifetime. In my opinion, the potential for success for this company and our YOBSN owners is unprecedented. Well, that's enough from me, but before we go to David Martin, I'd like to introduce you to Ken Bruff, our Chief Operations Officer. Ken brings with him over 35 years of senior management experience, the most recent being with a company founded by Chet Holmes and Tony Robbins. Ken is responsible for operational aspects of all things YOBSN and is a huge asset to our company. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ken Bruff. Ken, are you there?
I am. Hi, Carol. Thank you for that gracious introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks. Thanks, Ken.
Excellent. Thank you. That was very nice. I'm excited to be on tonight's webinar. I really am. We had such a good time in the last one. We covered such incredible material, and we got some fantastic feedback, and evidently we were saying the right things, and people got very, very excited. I think they were really glad to hear the future and where this company is going. And I have enough history with this company in some very interesting ways that I've been able to see some of the things that have occurred in the last few years. When I first met David Martin. In fact, I first met Stephen and Carol, for that matter, when I was still working for Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes in a special marketing capacity and working with Smart Media. And it was a very interesting relationship because many of the things that we talked about are things that I had never heard about before. So I was fascinated with this company, this Smart Media company, and with these people and what they were trying to do, and this concept of making the world a better place. And it took a while for me to actually believe that this was true. I mean, a lot of people talk about things like making the world a better place, but in a short time I started to figure out that they really mean it. They really mean we want to make this world a better place. And so that was pretty impressive with me. When after Chet Holmes died and I left that organization, I consulted for a while with Smart Media and was more and more drawn into and intrigued by the business model, by what they were trying to do, by the amazing concepts. I mean, it was amazing to me that, and some of you are aware of this, some of you will not be, but it was amazing to me that someone like David Martin, who did not have to do this, did not have to create this, did not have to go into this business, but he did because he wanted to make the world a better place. He wanted to create something unique, that would give the average person a chance to find the lifestyle they were looking for and be able to create something for themselves. And the more I got drawn into that, the more I wanted to be a permanent member of this team. And finally, through much hard work on my part and a lot of convincing, David decided that I might be a good risk to bring on, and he brought me on as the chief operating officer. And it's been a wild and great ride, but it's been a ride on this train that's always been going forward, and so it's always been exciting. There isn't a day that I don't get up, and I pop out of bed early in the morning, and I get up and I go, okay, what kind of great things are we going to create today? So I get really, really excited about that. Well, here's what's interesting is when I worked for the Tony Robbins organization, well, before I worked for them, most of my years were in executive management, but most of it was in the technology area. So David and I can talk some of the same kind of propeller head language, and I really could appreciate some of the things we were doing. But when I was working for the Tony Robbins organization, almost all of my work was conducted from my home. I helped over 400 companies become better companies. These are $10 million and up companies, and help change their very fabric and make them better companies. And I did it all from my computer at home. So it really was a home job. And Smart Media and David Martin afforded me exactly the same opportunity. So it was actually a while before I had an opportunity to sit down face-to-face with David across from the dinner table in Las Vegas and just sit and have this incredible quiet conversation. We had this amazing dinner. And it was a dinner that had, gosh, I can't remember, but it must have had, I think it was like 9 courses, maybe 13 courses, something like that. And it was just a long evening, and we got to know each other from a very heartfelt point of view. And the longer that I was there, I came to understand that while a lot of people are really impressed with David's vision, a lot of people are really impressed with his ideas and some of the things that he's created or he's trying to create, I became very impressed with his heart and how much he cares and how much personal effort, how many hours a day he puts into this, not because he's trying to get rich, but because he's trying to help other people. That's an amazing mission if you think about it. And he doesn't like to hear people talk about him that way. But I'm going to tell you it was a great dinner. I'm going to tell you that those folks that are maybe some of them in the audience right now who have an opportunity to have one of these nice, long, quiet dinners as a group that we're setting up with David later this year, somewhere in there, this is a fantastic opportunity, and it's a great opportunity to get together and really understand who this person is. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Chief Executive Officer, our founder, and certainly our visionary, David Martin. David, are you there?
I'm there, Ken. Or rather, I'm here. And Ken, that was such a beautiful introduction. You have absolutely moved my heart in the ways that it matters to me. On a personal, heartfelt level, I think that was the most beautiful introduction that I've ever been given before. I need to start by giving thanks. And I want to thank every single person who's here. There's so many people. We have thousands of people listening right now from different parts of the world. Thank you all for being here. The reason that's even possible with the GoToWebinar system, which has a limit of 1,000 people that can be on at a time, is because there are people precious people from all around the world who are sitting in rooms, sitting in conference halls put on by leaders in so many parts of the world. And I also need to thank these leaders very much, because, it takes so much effort, so much passion, so much care for these leaders who made this possible. People say, David, you've made so much possible. Well, okay, thank you for that. To me, these leaders are the heroes, and the team members that we have in this company. I'm talking about both our best members. When I say best, I'm talking about leaders both from a sales standpoint, but also the people that are really there for others, that really support other people with lots of passion and lots of care on a daily basis. And they're not doing it to be heroes or rock stars or even expecting acknowledgement for that, although they're going to get more and more and more of that acknowledgement, which they so richly deserve from this company, because we want to acknowledge those people as well, very much and very passionately. So for all the great leaders and all the people who help put on these meetings around the world to allow us to have thousands of people, so that there weren't simply lines are full and you can't get on, we really appreciate you. And in my book, unquestionably, you are great heroes. And you're helping to make the world a better place. You are helping a lot of people. This is an unscripted webinar. I have written down some bullet points for myself. But this webinar is really just for me to speak from my heart, to be here with you and speak from my heart. And I did one other webinar on what was for me Wednesday. And this webinar is going to be different. We'll cover some of the same material. We're going to cover other material as well, for certain. It's not going to be the same. It can't be the same as the last one. And no other webinar that will ever be done in the future will be the same as this one. I've heard people say, this is important. Ken has talked about, how do I put this? When I started this company, I started and founded the company in 2007. And that doesn't mean I launched the company then. From 2007, it took until late 2009 to completely develop a back office system from the beginning. And that back office had to be designed at that time to support features that were going to be in a social network that I envisioned in the future. And it's each of these building blocks, you've got to build a strong foundation if you want a company to last. I've seen so many companies with so much hype, and I'm not going to mention any names, and I certainly don't want to compare ourselves to anyone else, and there's some great companies out there as well. Great companies, great people, great products. But the thing is, you've got to start with a truly solid foundation. And the first thing I always look at is, have they built their own back office, which 99.9 whatever percent of companies have not, and they're simply renting from some other company. At that point, when we had built what we built the most robust back office system essentially in existence, especially with the code that allows control over social networking options and whatnot from the back office. A social network that we didn't have at that time, but we put in the preparatory work. Okay? And when we built the social network, the fact that we have this revenue sharing social network and that we were the first company to do that and come out with that, that's nice. But the main thing about the way we built YOBSN is because at that time we were planning to be able to use each of the components of it, from the smart chirp avatar system, the branding, the social points, the friends list, so many other features in whatever, as a modular system in whatever social mobile apps and games that we want. And I guarantee that no one has even seen the best examples of this technology that we've built yet. No matter how good it is, no matter what the leaders have shown you with the YOBSN mobile promotional app, the social mobile games, whether it's Bubble Champion, Run Bunny Run, all the rest, we are able to move so much faster now because we are the only company that has spent the time and spent the money, which is so much more, especially on the financial side, so much more than basically anyone imagines. And I'm going to say something right now, and I say I speak from my heart. Sometimes, it's been a while since I've given some webinars. There was the one last Wednesday. Before that, it was quite some time. And sometimes I wonder, should I even do webinars? Because I'm not a baby-kissing politician. And sometimes, as I speak from my heart, perhaps I say things that I shouldn't say. And I'm going to say something like that right now. I'm not sure if I should say this or not, but I'm just going to say it. So here it is. The reality is that regardless of how successful we've been in so many places in the world and how that success continues to grow and grow and grow, we've spent a lot more money as a company than we've ever brought in. And Ken was saying, you don't start something like this the right way within the first whatever amount of time to get rich. And the reason is we actually spent a few $1 million creating the full back office system ourselves, which would have allowed us to launch a company where we could have given the most robust, most customizable back office system like essentially no other company in the world has, and just sell that to numerous companies that come and go and whatever, which of course wasn't even slightly my interest, and obviously we didn't do that. But the point is, to do what we are doing, we needed to create our own social network. We needed to create all the parts of it as modules within it. We needed to create our own social games. We needed to create our own exclusive products, like the social mobile trick photography hero app, which, by the way, has been released to a number of people now, a number of leaders all over the world. And if they haven't demonstrated it yet, I'm sure that they will be with you soon, because they have it and the rave reviews are coming in. We needed to do all those things and more because it all works hand in glove together. The back office with the social system with the mobile apps. This is what it takes. It's like building a civilization. And when you build a civilization, 90% of what you're actually building and actually doing is below the surface. Okay? It's not just the pretty little things on top. If you want a castle, to build a castle that's going to stand the test of time and be one of the greatest castles or mansions on Earth, you've got to, that foundation is so important. And if you're building a civilization, then it's not just the towers and it's not just this or that you're building. More than 90% is beneath the surface, and you better have one of the best sewage systems on Earth as well. Okay, and in our case, that security, and I have some updates on how we're going to make things so much faster and so much easier for everyone. It's sort of like if you had to stand in line at an airport before. Imagine if you suddenly had your own private jet and you could just fast track that whole situation. I'm talking about the Trusted YOBSN member program. I'm going to explain that later. That's going to fast track a lot of things. I don't want to get too much ahead of myself here. But in any case, you've got to have that sort of foundation. You cannot take shortcuts for this. And people, honestly, there are people out there that they hear about more money spent than it's ever come in. And I'm talking about gross product, the gross amount that's come in, not just net. And people say, that's crazy. Why would any company actually spend more than they're getting? That's not rational. But you know what? If you really think about it, not traditional business models, but if you really think about the success stories on the internet, okay, there was a company that was spending huge amounts, okay, more than 100,000 US dollars, to put it in US dollars terms, because that's the reference that I read when I read the article. That's what they were talking about. More than $100,000 per month just on servers. Just on the servers, not counting any staff members whatsoever. You know the amount of money that they were bringing in? Literally nothing at the time, and then they started bringing in a very small amount. Now, the name of the company is YouTube, and they were bought for more than $1 billion, more than $1.5 billion by another company called Google. So then if you look at the other success stories, if you look at Google, if you look at all these different companies, that's exactly the track record. Yes, they spent more than they made, because what is the vision? The vision is not to make, it's certainly not for the company to make a fast bit of money. If you come to it with that mentality, those are the companies that fail. And unfortunately, they try to use the assets, use the money that's coming in to pay for technology. They always massively underestimate the technology and time that it's going to take. There's some wonderful marketers out there, but the thing is, the people who are doing things, if it's a technology company, then you've got to have the people who truly not only are passionate about that, but understand it at a core level. Okay? I could tell you about a small company that I think they were in Arizona at the time that I'm thinking of, and they were there was a man who was typing away at a primitive keyboard. He was programming and listening to acid rock music, and he created some little code for this computer that I'd have to look it up, but I think it was the Altar 880. Anyway, you probably haven't heard of it. It was essentially the first personal computer before the Apple. The last name of the gentleman was Gates, and the company was Microsoft. Okay? These people understood things from a core level. If someone thinks, okay, I'm going to create some company, I'm going to take a bunch of marketing copy and put out a bunch of hype, and then we're going to elance.com and we're going to find a bunch of programmers, and oh yeah, they're saying that they can create something like the YOBSN social network probably in 6 months and $250,000. That's not much at all. Okay, let's do it. The programming teams that are out there that are just programming teams for rent, they know how to play a certain game. And the game they play with company owners and people is that they know that the company owners basically, they need to tell them what they want to hear. And these people, because they have no idea of what realistically it takes, how many years and how much money, they can do this little game and that little game, and then pretty soon, in 8 months and $500,000, it's, look mate, look company owner, here's the situation. Really, realistically, and you did this and you changed the specifications on us and this was a little different and this and that, and yes, we used this code from this source and that code from that source and coded this ourselves and tried to wrap it together in essentially some form of tape. It's what I call Frankenstein technology. And the bottom line with all of it is that we really should start over from the beginning. And that's what they're hearing months after they were supposed to do things, and they're never able to come out with a single technology release of any kind. It's really frightening. As a company, not only do we have a golden track record of paying our members, but we also have a history of technology releases after releases after releases. But the most important thing is that they were done in the right way with our 10-year plan that I first created in 2007 and revised. I've revised 3 times since then, and none of the major things have been revised. None of the primary focuses have been revised, but we've actually right now, again, we have the latest plan takes us 10 years from now. But the big part that I'm so excited and so passionate about and so happy about is that this is the breakthrough time for us beyond any other. And it's not just about all the fabulous announcements that I'm going to share with you this evening, 2 of which are certainly weren't shared ever before. As a company update on the last webinar, this is completely new. But beyond all of this, we are in a position now with the technology that we have to just accelerate everything, massively accelerate the momentum of how we are releasing things. And I'm very proud of this. These are the moments that, after so much work and so much effort by so many team members, make it all worthwhile and make it so that we will and are unquestionably changing the world and going to dramatically touch and dramatically benefit the lives of so many people. And I want to do this, and I believe that we will do this more than any revenue sharing company in any industry has before. And why not? Why not? Because we're not constrained by the problems of physical products and shipping and customs or legals that deal with all the different types of physical products that are out there. And it's so rare, it's sad, but it's so rare for a technology company to truly have the technology that it needs. And yes, we didn't release things to everyone at first. We released it to leaders, but they know, and I've got a big announcement about that too, but they know that, and as they've demonstrated to so many people, we've got some of the most enjoyable, for example, the social mobile games. We've got some of the most enjoyable games in the world right now. If we release them today, that's it. And what we're adding is the social aspects that will take people's profit potential and lifestyles and all the rest completely to a new level. Now, I'd like to say, people say, I've heard from people, okay, David, you're amazing, you're doing so much for the company, you're working so hard. Yeah, okay. So it's true, it's 11:32 p.m. at night right now. It's past midnight for Ken. And the thing is, and yes, I got up at 7 o'clock this morning, and on an average basis, I'm working 14 to 16 hours a day, usually 7 days a week. The seventh day is usually a half day, and the rest of the 6 days are 14 to 16 hours a day, easily. And I'm not exaggerating, not a bit. And then I say things like, you know what, it's the team that makes me look good. And people say, oh, David, you're so humble. No, I'm serious. It's the team that makes me look good. Completely serious. And I'm going to say something else, speaking from my heart, that perhaps I shouldn't say, but what would happen to everyone's future? Now, this is a really frightening question, but it has a good answer, I like to think. What would happen if I was hit by a big red bus? What would happen if I finally took a skiing vacation or one of the other vacations that I'm looking forward to, and I ended up having an accident, was in the hospital, whatever? Now, obviously, those aren't nice things, and I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. But let's say, for example, what if it did? Okay? What would happen to your life? What would happen to all the different people who are building this business? Scared yet? Well, there is only one acceptable answer. There's only one acceptable answer to that question. And it's the same. The only acceptable answer is what happened, for example, with the great, late Steve Jobs and the Apple company. Is the company still in business? Are they still okay? They're doing brilliantly. And they came out with the first iPhone, and it was a brilliant, revolutionary product. But they didn't stop there. And they're coming out with, I like to think, I'm speaking on a personal basis, better products than ever before. And they have more money and more success than ever before. The reason, you see, we have more than 50 team members right now, programmers, graphic artists, but not just those areas, management, people who have worked for Fortune 400 companies before in game development. I'm talking about actual planning, flow charts, their Scrum and Agile masters, which is a top-of-the-line planning system and organization system to make sure that member teams are all working very efficiently. And these people are masters in these areas, and I have to admit that with, for example, the game development designers, you'll notice that, for lack of a better word, the games that we develop have a certain zen, a certain style, call it whatever you want. They're all extremely entertaining but family friendly. They all have beautiful graphics that are unique and yet like each other in a certain way. They have those similarities, despite the fact that we have so many brilliant graphic artists. And the thing is, a year and a half ago, this was my philosophy of game design, that I kept sharing and sharing and sharing with these people that, again, they came to us, and I hired them off of Fortune 5000 companies, and in certain cases, Fortune 500 and even 400 companies. I could tell you about an incredible university professor from a top university in Europe, where most of our programmers come from, that actually left the university after a very prestigious 10 years and took his very top students who had just graduated from that university and formed and agreed to work exclusively for us, and that's just on one of our games. But so these people were experts before they started with us. They had the proven track record of success in their field and their area before they started with us. Just like Ken Bruff, for example. Amazing. Now, 1.5 years ago, I really needed to share my philosophy with them. A year ago, they were a bit better on it. As of about 6 to 8 months ago, they got it to such a degree that, as I get up in the morning and go on a webinar with a whole group of team members, we do the Scrum, we do the Agile. That means that we're going through all these different progress reports, that each person has a short amount of time to share what they've accomplished that day and all these kinds of things. These managers, these part of the team members and staff that are managers, they've got the philosophy so much, and I did a lot of writing and a lot of sharing, but they've got it so much that basically, even though I'm there, they are running the webinars now. And they could create brilliant, top-selling games with all the YOBSN philosophy of what it needs to be and the integration, and they're working brilliantly with our other team, the primary team of 22 programmers in Europe. I've had the great pleasure of working with for more than 12 years, and they've been under exclusive contract to me for 12 years. And all the integration of the social network components with these. The truth is, I'm not, I hate to say it, but I'm no longer needed on those webinars, okay? Because it's working that smoothly with them. They've got it. And that's very important, because if you want to be, my philosophy, and this is just me speaking, okay? But I believe that if you want to be a $100+ million company, you've got to act like a $100+ million company. And I've identified some ways, and I'm talking about revenue per year. I've identified some ways that we haven't been doing a good enough job. Again, maybe I shouldn't be doing these webinars and speaking because, oh my gosh, can't believe you just said that. But it's true. And we're tuning, and we've been making the changes so that we are, because we know where we're inevitably going, which is the greatest success story of a revenue sharing company that the internet has ever known. No other answer is acceptable. And I've made sure that no other answer is possible, especially with where we are today. Talking about the team members. Now, I'm really not sure if Steve Williams, who is YOBSN's head of marketing, is here, because frankly, it would be after, what would it be? It would be 2:40 in the morning for him. So at this point, especially with the amount of time that I've spoken, but Ken, is Steve with us this evening? He was the last webinar he spoke.
I'm sure he may be with us in spirit, and we're in his dreams. But I'm guessing on the East Coast, Steve is catching some Z's.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And again, it's past 2:40 in the morning now. Again, for you, Ken, it's almost 1 in the morning as well. I mean, the dedication and love that you, as a person, as a gentleman, as the COO of this company, and I get choked up when I say that, because you're an incredible man. And by the way, I've got to say, thanks for all the compliments about that beautiful dinner we had together. It was at least my pleasure as much as yours. And I know that, for anyone who hasn't met Ken yet, you're in for a treat. And I'm really looking forward to meeting many more leaders and whatnot with the dinner that's going to occur around December of this year. And I don't have the exact date yet, but we're planning it for around December. And those people who will be a part of it, I don't know who I'm going to have the pleasure of meeting yet, because that's not decided either. But it's the special webinars that we're going to have every month that are going to help to decide that and determine that. The people who are on those will not only get to meet a number of the team members and see them in action and hear them and see and hear the awesome things that they're doing and bring them to life well before anyone else, but it's from that group that we're also choosing the people who will be part of the dinner that I have the pleasure of having with them. And I really do mean that. I have the very distinct pleasure of sitting there with them. And I don't know how long it will be. It could be 2 hours, 3 hours, it could be 4, it could be 5. I don't know. I'll basically, to some degree, leave it up to them. But it's going to be a great pleasure. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Can I have a number of announcements to share? But I want to go to you if there's anything that you want to talk about. This is a very free-form webinar where we're just speaking from our hearts, even though there are many important points to cover. So is there anything that you wanted to say?
Well, there are a couple of things that I'd like to share with people, with our members, is that, and I talked about this in the last webinar, but it was important enough to me that that I'd like to mention it again, which is what wonderful people we have out there. One of the things that, as I talked about, I spent a lot of time sitting in front of my computers, and so I hear people's voices. I see a lot of messages and things like that. But rarely do I get the opportunity to shake hands or to hug some of the members. And of course, this January I had an opportunity to do that. And in my first trip out of the United States, and I had an incredible experience meeting with hundreds and hundreds of members. in Malaysia, and at an event there. And I'm going to have another opportunity a little later this year, and I'm hoping that eventually I'm able to get to events in many countries and meet a lot of people. I don't get around like, for those of you who know Lothar, I don't get around like he does. I mean, he's every place in the world, but I had this opportunity to meet these gracious people, and they were wonderful, and they took incredible care of me. And what I realized as I was there was I saw people who started with nothing, essentially, or with very little, and some of them took their families within a year to a place that was so much better in terms of lifestyle. They took their families to incredible places. Some of them were young people, started at 18 and were, creating incomes and life for them. When I see that many people creating new life and creating and continuing to create a lifestyle and change their lives and change the lives of their family, at that point, my heart swells, because I know that anyone can do this. You just have to do what they're doing. When I woke up, and I was up, I think, 28th floor of the hotel, and I looked out over Kuala Lumpur, and I see all these people going to work very early in the morning, and I was looking out there, and at that moment, something came to my heart, and I could see these people in my mind's eye. I could see them starting to get ready for work and starting to get their families up. And I realized that there are a lot of families out there that wouldn't be going to school. They wouldn't be sending their kids to school. They'd be sending their kids to do some work. And if we want to make the world a better place, then we need to help everyone to be able to send their children to better schools, to improve their lifestyle. And I'm not talking about people who are expecting things to be handed to them. I'm talking about great people who are willing to do the work and who are willing to follow leaders who are already having success. And that's the first key, is follow and duplicate somebody else's success. So, speaking from the heart, I could see how really, in an international scale, we could achieve those kinds of results. So I want to talk about just a couple of other things that you can use, move on to. Is one of the things, a term that you've heard used, is something called disruptive technology. Now, I've read a lot about disruptive technology. So if you use this term, disruptive technology, in your presentations, I want you to know a little bit about it and why it actually is, we represent that well. Disruptive technology is a term coined, or at least he wrote 3 books on it, by Clayton M. Christensen from Harvard University. And in those books, he talks about what disruptive technology is, what it means. So I want you to understand this. So I'm going to give you just a couple of examples that you can use and you can talk about when you do presentations. So the first one is that in about the 1830, I think it was about 1837, the first steam shovel was invented. You know, steam shovels that dig the big dirt and, dig huge dirt things. Well, that kept increasing. This steam shovel in the 1920s, they had these wide, big shovels that would be like 6 feet wide, and they had to convert to gasoline, and they did, and that was kind of an evolution, and they went through these evolutions, and these things got bigger and more expensive, and they were doing really well, and they were massive, giant companies that had these massive, giant steam shovels. And then, in the 1950s, along came something that was put in the individual person's hands. Farmers, other people like that. It was called a backhoe. And the backhoe had a bit more flexibility than these big shovels. And guess what? The average person could buy a backhoe. Certainly the average construction company could. And it started to have impact, and people started to have their own construction and digging equipment. A little later, a little device came out that would dig sewer lines, and it was called the Bobcat. So what we've got here, and it changed everything. It made the entire industry move over to hydraulics, to a totally new technology. It was that different. So here you've got this little outfit that doesn't do the amount of work of the big ones, isn't the same as the big ones, doesn't have all the features, didn't have a 6-foot shovel on it, did have a new technology, was affordable, more by the masses, and it disrupted and changed that particular industry forever. And in a more intimate one that I saw occur in the 1960s and late 70s, the personal computer, and I had one of those early Apple IIs. I didn't have a kit one, but I had an early Apple II. And the early Apples, the software on the early Apples, when you were doing word processing, it was more like programming than word processing. You had to put in, if you wanted something, there wasn't word wrap where it went down. You had to put in codes. And so the big computer company that was really making inroads in business, other than the huge mainframes, was one that was a kind of mini mainframe, mini computer, and DEC computer was DEC was the king of the thing. So
Digital Equipment Corporation, right?
Digital Equipment Corporation. They were the king of the road.
Indeed.
And they said, the head of their corporation said, you know, I don't think the personal computer is ever going to catch on. It's just a toy.
Didn't the CEO also, I'm sorry to interrupt you, I
Yes.
didn't know you were going to talk about this, but didn't he make a statement, and remind me what he exactly said, but only 6 computers would ever be necessary in the world or something like that?
He was talking about mainframes, and he said, you know, as far as real computers, that there only be 6.
Yeah.
I don't think it was him, but I think he quoted the person that was that. But it was so funny because they were sure that personal computers, if you look around now, DEC who? Mini computers? And do we all have personal computers? Well, I'm standing here in a room that's got 4 of them in it that has more computing power and more personal power than everything they had in those days. Any one of them. Any one of my computers has more computing power than everything that they had at that time. So if you wonder what a disruptive technology is, you can go through the qualifications of that, and I can guarantee to you that YOBSN is indeed and has all the earmarks and qualities of being a truly disruptive technology. So I've got a few other remarks, David, that maybe we can share later if we have time, but I'd like to turn it back to you now and let you introduce to some new announcements, new products maybe to us, or wherever you're going with it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ken. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Perfect. And I just want to say, in regards to disruptive technologies, think of the horse and carriage versus the automobile. What a difference. And there were people, and I love the theatre, but theatre versus movies. Absolutely love the theatre, and movies are not a replacement for it, like the other thing. But think how many people, it's laughable today that there even could have been anyone skeptical about the impact that those would have made. And of course, a lot of people were quite confident and moved forward quickly, and they had absolutely changed the world. Another example is, Wikipedia versus the encyclopedia. The printed volumes that used to be so popular. They're still out there, But ask yourself, what do most people use? And when you talk about a company that is truly revenue sharing and literally gives all free members, and here's an announcement, all free members, every single one is going to be a winner. Some of them are going to have physical prizes, but at the very least, social points. And I know there was a time when people weren't getting social points, and then there was a time when they were, but they couldn't spend it. And then we released Bubble Champion for the web, for example, which, by the way, you're seeing a screenshot of a beta version that our staff members are currently testing with the social integration and the entirely new set of avatars. And so I guess I could give this as the first announcement, which those of you who've been reading the company updates know. There's Bubble Champion for the web, and no matter how fabulous it is, it's not as good, in my opinion, certainly not as the mobile version, but it is awesome. And the compliments are flooding in, and all, in case you didn't know, completely working with social points, complete social point integration for all YOBSN owners and their free members today. And what about the other games? Are any others close to being released? Well, let's just say that our internal staff team is actually beta testing 3 other games that we're looking at social integration, including social points and all this right now, and beta testing the web versions of those and whatnot. I'm not going to release dates, but you know what? I'm loving the fact that there's so much that's happening now so quickly. And those who've been the most dedicated are going to benefit the most. Now, everyone's going to benefit, because my philosophy is going, under-promising and over-delivering, so that every promise ever made will go even beyond that. That's my philosophy. And when I say beyond that, what I'm specifically talking about is that some of the most exciting things, no matter how exciting the social mobile games are and all the rest, there's something that we're working on that is so mind-blowing, it's even beyond that, and we're actually relatively close to it today. And it is going to cause an absolute explosion of social point sales. It's going to... there are a lot of things I could say about it. I'm going to keep it very, very secret right now. And we're actually in the process of patenting a lot of that technology, because it's that precious and that powerful. And I'm going to announce something here that is huge. That not only is this system, which is going to be available for both the web and also as a social mobile software and integrated within YOBSN Mobile, although I'm actually more excited about this than YOBSN Mobile. That's how exciting this is. It's just going to change things, and of course it works hand in glove with YOBSN Mobile, so we have the best of everything. But not only is it going to cause, in my belief, and I mean, look, I'm certain about this, massive social point sales. And again, this doesn't discount any of the other awesome things that you already know and love at all. Quite the opposite, it just superpowers them even more. But in addition to that, and perhaps I shouldn't announce this, but we're even going to have a paper impression system inside it, and it's going to be very specially done, where free members will absolutely love it, want to do that, be able to see and use those advertisements within this system in unique ways so that they're actually motivated to use it, and they'll also be earning social points as they view those advertisements. Now, they'll be able to turn those advertisements off, but the vast majority of people won't, because of the huge benefits that we're going to give them for having it on. And it's something that's a revolutionary concept in so many ways, because it makes it absolutely awesome for advertisers. It gives advertisers an opportunity that they've never had before. Free members get paid social points when they view the advertisements in this system, and YOBSN owners get paid real money when they view those advertisements. It's not based on clicks, it's based on impressions, this particular system. And I can guarantee you that no matter how exciting that is, it's still not the most powerful features of this. And this will be available as a social mobile app, and also we're programming it in a particular way that, just like Bubble Champion, it's also going to be available in the future for the web. So I talked about Bubble Champion, I talked about this other thing. I'm going to talk about another huge announcement, and when I say this, I'm going to say it once and then I'm going to repeat it in a different way, because you really need to understand the full impact of what I'm saying. And ironically, I just picked this beautiful graphic at random you're seeing right now. Are you seeing that full screen, Ken?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So here's the announcement, and it's a huge one, and it's because of the trusted YOBSN owner part that we're going to be able to do what I'm about to mention, which we're absolutely, I am so passionate about releasing what I'm about to say as soon as possible. And by the way, I will say that no one wants and is more passionate about releasing things quickly and in the right way than I am. No one wants it more, because we will be changing the world, and those who have done the most and proven themselves the most, although everyone will benefit, will absolutely have positioned themselves. Those who have been working in the last year, the last month, today, tomorrow, the next few weeks, will absolutely have positioned themselves to be, it's just a fact, whether we want it or not, it's a fact, the people who are able to benefit the most from this, because you know what, they put in the hard work too, and they deserve it. And that's the simple truth. It doesn't mean that, you know, other people who don't have, and I'm very passionate about helping the people who don't have a lot of contacts and want an easier way to do things and whatnot, and there's going to be a lot of that. And again, I know that I haven't given Steve Williams an introduction that he deserves, but I'm proud to announce, as I'm talking about team members, that he has been made YOBSN's head of marketing department, and the things that he's going to be doing to help average people in this company and create new systems to make things easier for them is awesome. And it's the people who have the right amount of confidence and passion, even if they don't have a lot of contacts or marketing knowledge of those kinds of things, but are willing to work and have the passion, even though they are not necessarily in an advantageous position. It's those people, helping those people, those who are dedicated to truly go to an entirely new level of lifestyle. This is the reason that I started the company. It's not to help every person in the world, because I know I can't do that, but we can make a difference, and we can help a lot of people, and we can help so many children around the world with what we're going to be doing with education. And without further ado, I'm going to mention this next point, okay? All right. I want to phrase this in the right way. As a YOBSN owner, you will be paid real money when your free members use social points to purchase qualifying products. Okay, now this needs to be explained, because there is a huge point, if you really think about it, that might not have been mentioned yet. But take a look at your screen right now. Welcome back to Bubble Champion. Here's a gift of, hold on a tick, what did I just say? And by the way, before I say the rest, let me qualify qualifying products. There's going to be a lot of qualifying products. Most of the games, all of the games, not counting, actually this will be applicable to certain edutainment titles as well, but all the games that people, social mobile games and their web versions that people know about right now, all the new games that we've been producing in the last year, those that people know about, and those that some of those that we are in strong development on, that we haven't even mentioned, and games also like Cave of Treasures, and products like the social mobile Trick Photography Hero application, and more. Not absolutely everything, but as much as possible, and a lot of things. As a YOBSN owner, you will be paid real money when your members use social points to purchase on qualifying products. Hold on a tick. That screenshot says that the company is giving social points to your members for free. But we just told you that you're going to be paid real money on it. Hold on. Now, we are going to have social points that people can buy. Okay, great. But you see, in our system, as far as this is concerned, there isn't a difference in that sense between social points that people buy, and social points that we as the company give your free members for free, for joining every day, for all these different things, and in a variety of ways that we haven't been doing so far. Okay? Here's a gift of social points.
David?
Yes.
I hate to interrupt you, but you got a little bit quiet, and people were saying that they hear it. Could you repeat that last? Either that or some people fainted when you said it, because it was so amazing.
Can you hear me clearly?
Could you say that again a little louder? The part about where you got the social points and how that works, because that's so powerful.
Yes. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. People really need to hear what I'm saying on this, because this is so revolutionary. There's absolutely nothing out there like this, and this company is designed so that not everyone in the world, but a very large portion of users of the internet will join this company in some capacity, I passionately and strongly believe. Not all of them are going to be YOBSN owners. Certainly not. A lot of people will be. Some of them, a lot of them, will be free members that make the YOBSN owners, those who are smart, those who see the vision, and those who would also like the opportunity to have perhaps the largest lifestyle changing opportunity that has ever been offered. We'll see. Oh yes, we'll see. All right. Let me say it again. When a member buys social points, can you hear me clearly, Ken?
I can.
Okay. I don't know how to speak any louder, and I'm seeing with GoToWebinar that this is that the volume is quite loud, and in audio terms, it's going to be clipping if I speak any louder.
I think you're getting it now. I'm getting responses that it is much better and it is loud and clear. So
okay,
I think you're
great. Well, one of the things is GoToWebinar is probably straining under the amount of people that we have on this webinar right now. All the people and all the leaders who are sharing rooms on one single connection notwithstanding, it's just the reality of it. So thank you for mentioning that. As you see on your screen, we are going to be giving social points for free to your free members in entirely new and innovative ways that we have never done before. And that's great news. But beyond that, social points in our system are social points, meaning that if they're purchasing social points, they're social points. But if we're giving when we are giving your free members, and I say when as, you know, if they've joined, they're getting social points, and then we're giving them social points in a variety of other ways. Same thing. There aren't two different kinds of social points. It's all the same. So we are giving them social points for free in a variety of ways, but when they spend those social points, even the social points that we gave your free members for free, and they use that to purchase qualifying products, you as the YOBSN owner, you as the active YOBSN owner will be paid real money. And this is possible because of the innovative technology that we have, that we've been working on for so long, and the trusted YOBSN owner system that I'm going to mention. So we're literally going to be paying active YOBSN owners, and active means either paying the monthly fee, or if you're in a monthly fee exempt country, congratulations. Okay, so we're actually going to be allowing YOBSN owners to receive real money into their e-wallets on their free members spending social points, even if they're spending the social points as I believe, and I believe not, as the system has been designed, so that they're often spending social points as well that we gave them for free, that the company gave them at no cost to you. I shouldn't say this, but I hope I haven't caused anyone to pee their pants. This is... Anyway, if you understand the impact of that, fantastic. And at this point, I think the majority of people do. We're changing the world, we're changing the lifestyles of people. It's just, this is what it takes to really honestly do this. this is what it takes. Let's see. What else? Oh, another key announcement. The YOBSN social mobile games and the YOBSN social mobile promotional app. Well, in regards to the rollout to qualified members, we've decided to skip that step because we want to get this out to everyone faster. So instead of qualified members, we're going to put it out to all YOBSN active members, and that process will start this coming Monday. That's exciting news, isn't it? Yeah, that is the 28th. Okay, now let me qualify what the word active means. It means two things. First of all, that you are that the active member is monthly fee active, or in a monthly fee one of the countries that is monthly fee exempt. That works too. And also those who are actively logging into their members' back office and reading company updates. Those are the two things that I mean when I say active. Okay, so there will be a company update on it, and there will be, when the company update comes out, there will be a button in the members' back office that is for these members. Now, this button is going to appear for the right members who qualify. It's not going to appear for LNB 3, 2 and 1 members, because they already have this technology in their hands today. And in regards to Trick Photography Hero, I should also mention in regards to that all the videos in that video series, it's revolutionary. There are three main points I could specifically mention about that. But and I wrote right now for the time, but there are three ways. Read the announcement on Trick Photography Hero. There's three ways that are world's firsts on that particular product. The quality of the product is absolutely exceptional. And by the way, I just want to mention, as far as, the way we've structured this company is the way that it needs to be to truly roll out the features, the benefits, the products, all this unbelievable technology that's necessary to take things to the next level for people around, for many dedicated people around the world. Not going to impact all lives on the earth. That's absolutely impossible. I wouldn't even try. But this company is going to help and bless many children, and it's going to help and bless the people who are most dedicated, and not just the ones who are most dedicated, but those who are dedicated and willing to move forward and take their lifestyle to the next level. Okay, so right now, Trick Photography Hero, all the videos are done. In regards to the social mobile app, the mobile app has been released to a selection of key people all around the world, and it's the mobile app is working brilliantly as a mobile app. Now, the last part that we're adding to that are the social features, and let's just say it's a very exciting time, and we're going to, for this particular rollout, we're rolling out the games and the YOBSN promotional app to all these active members, and then we'll roll out Trick Photography Hero to those active members as well. Some of the chapters with certain social features at a time after that. And if you know one of the leaders that has this incredible technology already, ask them to demonstrate it for you, perhaps, as I'm sure that many of the great leaders around the world certainly will be. I've mentioned a lot of key updates, and I'm actually going to put it back to Ken for a moment to fill in the blanks on anything that he'd like to talk about. So please go ahead, Ken.
Sure. I'd like to take this opportunity. One of the things we talked about in the last webinar, I've got a couple of things that I think may be useful to people. I talked about, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, most people got it, but I believe that the two most important words, I believe the two words that define us, for example, from the animals, the thing that defines us as human beings, and the two words that seem to cause the most fear in people, interestingly. And you need to write this down because it'll change your life if you do it. It's not an affirmation. A lot of people thought this was an affirmation. It's not an affirmation. It is a philosophical and a life strategy choice. And these two words are I choose. I choose. And the reason most people are afraid of it, you say, well, I'm not afraid of that. I say, but I choose to get rich. If you really choose to get rich and make a decision, decision, a real decision, comes from the same root as incision, meaning to cut, incision, to cut. Decision, to cut off from any other possibility. I choose, and therefore I take responsibility and I power forward full force. Okay, lots of people gave me great I chooses. Now I'm going to give you something that Tony Robbins gave me that I've used again and again. Anytime that things started to slow down for me, I'm going to give you Tony Robbins' ultimate success formula. And I guarantee it has pulled me out of situations. It's taken me forward, and you can use this. It's very simple, but very profound. It is not simplistic. So here it is. Number one, when you start out, you must know where you are going. Otherwise, how do you know when you get there? You must know where you're going. So definitely write it down. Where are you going? Now then, the second thing is you must have a plan on how you're going to get there. Be incredibly specific. The more specific you are on this plan, the better it is. Now, is it going to change? Yes, the plan will change as you move along. But the point is, by going through the plan, you will take the steps necessary to get there. Now, the next thing is, I know where I'm going. I've got a plan to get there. So let's assume I'm going to, in my case, I'm going from Seattle to Dubai. So obviously I'm probably going to fly. And I've got a plan to get from Boise, where I'm at, Boise, Idaho, to Seattle, and then I'm going to go to Dubai. Okay, so I've got my plan. I know where I'm going. And I figured out I'm going to fly. I've got my airlines picked out. The next thing I have to do is take massive action. Massive action on that plan. Okay? Great. Now, here's the interesting thing is a lot of people take those first three things, and they actually have done a good job of those, but they miss the next step. Now, there's some that don't even do what I just mentioned, And for them, I'm sorry, you need to do that if you plan to be successful pretty much at anything. But the next step is the one that sometimes is forgotten. The next step is evaluate. Evaluate. So you stop, and you might do this once a week. It isn't something you typically do every day. You do it like once a week. You might do it once every 2 weeks. But you typically say to yourself, am I getting closer to my goal, or am I further away? Do I need to adjust the plan, or am I on target? Do I just need to take more action? And so you then make adjustments, and you move forward. In other words, if I was flying from Seattle to Dubai, here's the interesting thing. I'm off course 80% of the time. We're constantly course correcting. They've got all sorts of electronic signals and different things that they work with to tell them when they've strayed a certain amount, and they pull back on course, and they pull back on course, and they course correct all the time. Well, that's all you're doing here, is you're course correcting back onto your plan. Are you getting closer to your goal, or are you getting further away? Okay, and then what do you do after that? You've corrected your course, you take more massive action, you evaluate, you correct, and you just keep repeating that. That's the ultimate success formula. It's worked for me again and again. Everything from, martial arts and getting black belts to whatever else that I wanted to do, riding motorcycles, succeeding in different businesses. I've had a lot of interest through my life. And this formula has helped me through many, many things. Never seen it fail if I applied it diligently. So these are a couple of things I did want to pass on because I think they're useful as you go out there and you create success for yourselves. So anyway, I wanted to pass those things on, David, and I'm going to turn it back to you to kind of take the next portion if you're ready to go.
Fantastic. Can you hear me clearly, Ken?
I can. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Ken. And I cannot emphasize what Ken has said is enough. I cannot underline it enough. By the way, I believe, and stop me if I'm wrong, Ken, but I believe that your next journey there is going to be to South Africa, and we're expecting, we know we're having some huge events there, and what you're going to be part of it's because of your incredibly busy schedule as well, it's unfortunately a very limited time that you're going to be there. But wow, anyone who is in South Africa, this is going to be huge. Please contact the leaders in the organization. Make sure that you are there, as many of you as possible. If you can't make it to one of the huge events that Ken is going to be at, then make it to one of the other events as well. There's going to be so much there, and it's, as I said, meeting Ken is, I can only talk from my own experiences. It was at least as much of a blessing for me as for him. That's how I felt in my heart. He's an incredible man, and there's a reason that I picked him when I could have picked anyone in the world to be the chief operating officer in this company. There are a lot of things that I could say that are extremely exciting, wonderful pieces of information that I'm not going to say because this webinar has already taken some time, and I could talk on for another 3 hours, and I'm certainly not going to do anything like that. In fact, I want to bring things to a close on this particular webinar. So I can't cover every point, even if they're large and important points. It was interesting, after the last webinar, someone came to me and asked, why didn't you talk about the YOBSN Global Shopping Network? And there's so much I could say on that, just as one example that is brilliant how things are coming along. And I am so passionate about the truly exclusive items that I have not seen available anywhere else. So many items are certainly not available on sites like Amazon and whatnot. And I love Amazon.com, okay? Absolutely love them. But unique, exclusive items that personally, it's going to be my great pleasure to be a purchaser of so many of these items that we're having available from all around the world, because it's truly, that is part of making the world a better place, by the way, supporting the local artisans in different parts of the world, people who are giving back to their local community by creating something incredible that's, you know, a fair trade item, an ecological item, items that are just incredibly beautiful works of art. And I'm not talking, when I say works of art, I'm not talking about painting, I'm talking about all types of exotic items, from jewelry to musical instruments to sculptures to numerous other types of items. And oh wait, what about iPads and things like that? Yeah, of course as well. And there's so much more I could say on that, and so much more I could say on many other things. I've got to say though, as I said before, I've been up since 7 in the morning. It's getting quite late, past 12:30 in the morning, and I thank all of you for being here for all this time. It's my pleasure to speak to every one of you. There are a few other things quickly that I want to say. Now, we have a track record as a revenue sharing company of releasing more technology, actual real technology, especially now also with the release of Bubble Champion for the web and the social points and all of that, than any other revenue sharing company before us. But what's most exciting to me is that it's just the beginning, and it's like what I call the quickening, where we're now in a position to do so much more, so much faster, and our time has come. And what I'm about to say, this is certainly not about me. It's just about the reality of where the company is going very quickly, as it's already been proving, as people around the world have been seeing. And here's the reality, okay? What we're doing, we're releasing all the products that people know about so far. A huge priority is to get them released. People, YOBSN owners like yourself, also want to make money when free members spend social points, even the social points that we've given members for free, okay, on a large variety of products, including many others that you don't even know about at this point. I believe that you want to have a system that makes you look like a hero to anyone. And there's so many things that I could show in that regard that I'm not even going to spend most of the time on right now. But so many, take a look at what we've got. I love this screen. For example, this gives prizes and social points to your free members for you automatically every day. And one of the things that Steve Williams shared, our new Executive Vice President of Marketing. I'm proud to say a man who's worked for more than 20 years with some of the most famous people in marketing and some of the largest companies on earth, Steve Williams, and marketing masters like Dan Kennedy and more. The bottom line is that, you know, what he's seeing as part of this company is something totally revolutionary that he's never seen before, especially in the ways it also makes people like you automatically when you're awake and when you're asleep, just for giving them something for free that they love. Those kinds of things. Releasing these things as quickly as possible is more of a priority for me than it is for anyone else. I have more passion and desire to do that than anyone else, and we are doing it. Okay? And I strongly believe that a number of YOBSN owners want to make money when they are awake or asleep from some of the biggest trends on the internet, even if they don't understand them, because they are with the company and it's pulling them forward like a vehicle of success. Now, I want you, the bottom line is, we will be there. And like, by the way, I mean, there's so many other screens, so many things I could spend time on. This is a screen that shows when your members are sending messages. There's so much more that I could show you here, but I'm not even going to. I'm going to go back to this gorgeous graphic of the train. The tracks are already laid. It's going in precisely the direction of the tracks that it's supposed to have, and where it's going is, and where it's taking people and moving people on this vehicle of success is to a better lifestyle than they've ever been before. Those who are making the right amount of effort. So what I'm saying with this company is that we are going to be in a position of power like no other revenue sharing company ever has before in the world. We know this. We've been working for years to build this incredibly powerful foundation, and now is our time. So here's what you need to understand, and this is very, very important, okay? As we are there, as we have released all these different things, imagine the position of power that this company is going to be in. Now, I hinted at a comment before, and the comment I hinted at was this. There are going to be a mass number of people around the world who are going to be part of YOBSN. Now, some people will have positioned themselves based on the work that they did last month and today and tomorrow and all of that. It's sort of like if you know that there's a certain time when if you're a fisherman and you know that there's a certain time that this huge number of fish come in, and there's those who have built the little rowboat and are going to throw out a string and a worm, and those who have made sure that they have a huge fishing vessel with a huge net and whatnot. Everyone who's out there benefits, but those who are most dedicated benefit more than others, especially because of the contests and the things that we've got out there right now. The app that I just hinted at that no one even knows about, I will tell you that the avatars will be integrated with that as well at a core level. A lot of this social gaming contest, the avatar contest, is more important than you can currently imagine, and is going to make a difference in your life. I passionately believe it's going to make a difference in your life for years to come. I know that there's a smaller group of people, unfortunately, who can get on the webinars, the monthly webinars we're having. There's all sorts of different things. We design contests, not all the contests, but many of the contests, so that everyone can be a winner. But I want to go back to that position of power. Imagine as we release and when we release, and there is no stopping point on this, but when we release these different things as we already are, I want you to imagine all the different products that you already know of, that you've heard of, released, and some of the other ones that you don't, released, and this and that. Imagine the position of power. And I'm mentioning this for a reason as well, beyond what I've said. I want you to think of a leader that's in some other company. And I want you to think of someone who, for whatever reason, let's give a really extreme example, because we all know, and it's the simplest thing in the world to imagine everyone loving YOBSN. It's really difficult as we release all these different things and whatnot. It's so difficult with that position of power at that time, as you're imagining now, that anyone wouldn't love YOBSN, especially with all the unique selling points and the unique benefits and features and value that no other company in the world has. But let's imagine that there's some leader that in some other company, maybe a nutritional company or a travel company or a petrol company, engine optimization, petrol mileage, whatever, that doesn't like YOBSN. Let's just imagine that. And they don't want to join. So are they going to join YOBSN? I think so. Now, why? Because I just said they didn't like it, so why would they join? And it's not a guarantee that they will. But here's the thing. Think about it this way. If they don't join, what happens? Their members, their leader in that company, and those companies, why? And by the way, we are not in competition with any other companies. YOBSN is a brilliant company that is attracting so many businesses and small to medium-sized businesses, not-for-profit organizations, schools, charities around the world, and it is of specific benefit to them in the business-to-business market. And those companies and those people are certainly not looking at selling YOBSN to anyone else. They're using it for the customization that was seen within the fabulous YOBSN contest, the unbelievable ways to brand the system, which gives so much, which is one of numerous points that gives lots of intrinsic value to YOBSN without anyone selling it or making money from the sale of YOBSN in any way or any sort of opportunity. If you take all of that out, 100%, the intrinsic value of YOBSN is immense. The ability to build lists of people who love you, what this is doing for not-for-profit organizations, charities, businesses, as they give away the games, even if they have, and certainly if they have no intention of ever bringing in a YOBSN owner, because that they're simply building the business that they already have. Okay, so we're not in competition with any company. But what's going to be happening to that leader's members? Well, at the very least, they're going to be contacted by people who are saying things like, hey, have you heard of this game like Candy Crush, where you can actually win real prizes just for playing it? What? Yeah, you can get it for free. My family loves it. It's wonderful. And oh my gosh, where can I get this? I want to get this. I want to do it. And I talked last webinar about all roads lead to YOBSN. And so whether they're starting with Bubble Champion is going to have ways that suddenly it pops up on the screen and it encourages them to get Ultra Space Ball or the new Discovery Adventure or the new Run Bunny Run, or the new Dessert Master, or the new Cave of Treasures, or and I know I've missed some games here. I'm getting tired here, but the point is, or Trick Photography Hero. If they start with Trick Photography Hero, which are going to have some free chapters and a bonus chapter on top of that when they're referring their first free friend, when the free member refers a friend, then they get a bonus chapter, and all that list, that's the list building there as well. So those people are going to be joining as free members. And then some of those free members are going to be upgrading to YOBSN owners. So what's going to be happening is that more and more the leader in the other company is going to be having his members as YOBSN owners. They're just not going to be under him or her. And when enough of that happens, are they going to join? Perhaps. Can't give a guarantee. Now that's disruptive revenue sharing technology. I urge you, do whatever you have to do in a truly, but only in a truly honest and ethical way, and as a reflection of your higher self. Do what you have to do to position yourself, to make it easy for yourself through your work today to have the lifestyle not just for yourself, but to help change the world. You've got to help change the world. No, you don't have to. I take that back. But I want you to. I beg you to. The people who are changing, they start with themselves, because if they're in the mud and someone else is in the mud, then they can't pull the other person out until they get out of the mud themselves, right? If they're out of the mud, maybe they're helping their family first. Maybe they're helping whatever. But there are children out there that are, they're orphans, literally living in boxes. They have no one. I mean, there's horrific stories out there. They didn't, in my philosophy, and maybe I'm wrong, it depends on if you believe in karma and how you interpret that or whatever, but in my belief, I think it's about showing our higher selves the kind of human beings that we can be to benefit the lives of as many good people in the world. And I've heard the phrase, you know what, rich people are pretty materialistic, and there are some that are. But you know what? it's a lot easier to not be materialistic when you have lots of that kind of power. So you don't have to worry about your expenses or any of those kinds of things anymore, and your family members and the people that you care about don't have to either. And if there's a medical emergency, there's more than enough money to pay for whatever, to do the best that this world has to offer to save someone's life that you care about, and that you know that you and your family. It's nice to know that they're just things in life that you don't have to worry about anymore. The actions that people are taking now, there's a lot of things in our contests that will never be available again. There's some things in our contests that will be available again. Even after the contests are over, we'll have more contests for some of those items, but they might be more difficult to achieve at that time, because we are giving a huge advantage to the people who are taking action today. And that's not just the top leaders. And a lot of this has to do with the YOBSN, the Trusted YOBSN Owners Program. Now, I want to really emphasize this. I've talked before about the meritocracy, and I've talked about, how should I put this? Yes, the company congratulates and rewards those who are doing the most, also as independent representatives and sales and whatnot, like any solid company does. Obviously, think of Fortune 500 companies and tell me the companies that are not doing that with their top sales reps, independent reps, whatnot. Basically, every company is. But the Trusted Members Program is not just about those who are bringing in the most sales or whatnot. It's set on a different level of criteria. It's about the people who might not have, it's about both those leaders, but also the people who don't have the means to do what certain leaders are doing, but they're working and they're doing something. And I don't even have time on this webinar to go through all the different parts of the YOBSN Owners Program, but the YOBSN Trusted Owners Program. But I will say that we are working very diligently to make things faster and easier than ever before, including payments for people that we trust the most, people that we know we can trust. And those and there's a lot of criteria that I'm getting tired here, folks. There's a lot of criteria. I've been speaking from my heart for basically 2 hours, and it's my great pleasure to be with you here. But I don't have time to go over nearly as much detail as I did in the last one, in the last webinar on this particular point. But some of the benefits we're working on are things like faster payments all the way up to instant pay for certain trusted people, people who are highly ranked in this fully automated, works in real time, instantaneous YOBSN Trusted Owners Program. You'll absolutely want to be a part of it. Every person will be a part of it, but there'll be a whole large number of levels of ranks that are in the automated system to do this, and it's allowing us to be a company that survives and thrives, where any other company who would try to be as generous as we are would fail because they don't have this system. And we have very good security right now. That's already kept us safe where other companies have failed, but there are also parts to that security that I don't like, because sometimes it has prevented us from being as generous as we wanted to be with people, and I'm talking just about a variety of ways in numerous levels of the system. And there are people that we trust and people that we know that we can trust inside the system, and more and more and more and more. And big, again, this goes back to big benefits for the people who've been working now and doing those things, even to any degree. And a lot of the criteria here is not just based on sales, although that's one criteria, and I could go into examples on this, but I won't. But I mentioned working on things, just accelerating the process of people coming in, payments, allowing things. I'll give you an example, just to give you an example of the scope of this. With our security system to stop people who have attempted to defraud the pay-per-click system from around the world, and this is sad because people have used robots. They've even had real people, children, just creating free accounts, logging in, clicking on advertisements, logging out, doing it again, and then finding at the end of the month that their theft against advertisers and all YOBSN owners, because what hurts the company hurts everyone, didn't work because our security system had caught that, and we were able to give absolute proof that there was fraud, and then give all that money back to the advertisers. But the point is, those kinds of things. So we have security systems where, for example, someone can't. There's certain ways that it looks at just a variety of different measures, but here's a practical example. Let's say someone is at a school, and let's say they're a good person, and let's say they want to have 50 members join for free from those same computers and same internet at that school, and create free member accounts. Right now, there are various ways and for these different reasons that our security system has been blocking that. With the trusted member program, if we know that person who's going to that school is trusted and they're marked as such, again, fully automated system, boom, no problem getting through. So I've talked about payments. I should talk about payments, incredibly fast payments to debit card. And we're working on things like instant pay to debit card, and before we're able to release that, we'll be releasing something like instant money in your e-wallet. Now again, this is up to that level. Not everyone is going to have this, but based on each person's ranking in the Trusted YOBSN Members Program, it's going to be determining a lot of things and how much things are accelerated. But these are the things we're working on to before we release instant pay to debit card, it will be money sent to debit card within 1 business day, depending on, again, the level within the Trusted YOBSN Members Program. So, you see, and here's the thing, I can think of a number of people, including many of the leaders who put on, or all of the leaders essentially, who put on these these wonderful conferences and the rooms that people are in. I can think of so many people where I can just sleep like a baby knowing that we're paying them faster than ever before, or even up to instantly, and it would be my great pleasure because I know that they are high quality, ethical people that I can trust. What I want to do is accelerate numerous processes, including payments and so many other things within the YOBSN system. This just impacts things in so many ways, in positive ways. I want this to benefit and bless as many people as possible. I can't say it I can say it in more ways, but the bottom line is, for you, now is the time, cast the net and change your life and the life of the people that you care about forever through what you do today. I'm going to turn it back to Ken, and I believe that Carol Lavers might also want to say a word or two very quickly after that. But over to you, Ken.
Thanks so much, David. That was great. I just want to pass on that I love the members, and I've learned to love them, and I'm learning to love them more every day. These are amazing individuals who teach me a lot every day. So thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this time to share with you. And Carol, I'm going to turn it to you.
Wow, well, what can I say? I mean, that was just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Ken and David. Look, incredible. I'll tell you what, there's not going to be a lot of people sleeping well tonight, that's for sure. And the comments box has been going absolutely nuts. There's that many excited people in here. Look, I'd just like to mention a couple of things before handing over to Stephen, who can wrap it up, and I hope Stephen is okay to do that. David mentioned medical emergency. Now, I've got a very dear friend of mine who I've known for, 15, 16, 17 years, something like that. And she's never made money in this industry before. And I did actually do an article in the Smart Media magazine on her. So last year she had one hip replacement after another. So she spent an awful lot of time in hospital and rehab. Then about a month ago, she called me and she said, guess where I am? I'm in hospital. I've got to have a heart valve replaced. And I said, apart from other things, I said, well, at least you don't have to worry about money. Because here's someone never made money in the industry before, making a lot of money here. And she doesn't have to worry about the money. She got out of hospital and she's now back in. I'm sort of, I wondered where she was. So I called and she's back in hospital again. Here again, she's built her business. She's got a business there, so she doesn't have to worry about that money. So, this is what you all need to do, everybody. Just get that business built so that things like that, if anything like that happens, at least you don't have to worry about where's the money going to come from. Second point is that David mentioned this new app that's going to cause an absolute frenzy. Well, I can assure you, everyone, it will cause an absolute frenzy. And David, I'm so thrilled that you're going to get a patent on it because it's just so incredible. And in fact, when Stephen and I heard about it, we said, "How quickly can you do it, David? What can you hold back to get that done?" Because we just want everybody to get that as soon as possible. So that is really, really exciting, and I know that everybody is going to love it. And yeah, we can't share what it is until it's ready, I'm sure, because it is so incredible. Well, everybody, thank you so much. I'm now going to hand it over to Stephen. I hope Stephen's okay to talk. As you are aware, he's not been at all well, but I'm sure he'll have a few words to say here. So, Stephen, are you there?
Yes, I certainly am, Carol. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can hear you fine, thanks, Stephen.
Thank you, Carol. And firstly, I'd like to thank all the members for being here today. And wow, what a webinar. David, exceptional job. I know that you don't like doing these and you don't like, being a speaker and all of that stuff, but I just want you to know from my heart you did an amazing job. And anyone here today, and I know we've got people all around the world, I don't think they'll be getting much sleep tonight. And Ken, thank you for sharing so many words of wisdom there, and it's a great pleasure to be working with you. I'd also like to thank all of the members and the people from all around the world. That's what I love about this business. As Carol mentioned, I haven't been well, and there's so many messages from all of the people all around the world, and the friends that you make in this and the relationships. Many of you who have been coming to my webinars know that I say it's all about the relationships and the connections, and it's certainly been proven during this time. And I'd like to give a special thank you as well to the people who have been taking over the webinars while I've been absent. I really do appreciate those leaders stepping up and taking on that. Now, look, I don't want to take
Stephen,
up... Yes.
Sorry, can I just say, first of all, I'd like to publicly thank Stephen for being here, and because, again, with his health challenges and all this, Stephen has been doing amazing things. And the truth is that even though he hasn't been doing all the webinars, he has done so much behind you did. I just want to congratulate Stephen in front of everyone. I'd also like to say, and I'd like to underline what he said before, but it's Stephen's time to talk. I just want to say, in regards to the webinars and this and that, relationships are so important, and I love sharing with people. And the people, this is why I created a company that I definitely didn't have to do. Okay, if it was all about me, and I'll just quickly say that the thing about money is that when you get to a certain point, unless you're a megalomaniac or you've got some sort of psychological ego problems, the reality is that you've got what you need, and anything bigger or faster or larger, to me, and to many good people who have achieved a certain amount of wealth in their life, what would be the point? The great pleasure is making the world a better place, because otherwise, if you can have the largest mansion and security guards and whatnot, that's just a sort of prison that you're building for yourself if the rest of society isn't being helped. But I want to emphasize, I love sharing with people. My number one priority, however, far beyond the webinars and sharing with people and this and that, no matter how important any of this is just working with the team members to get everything released as quickly as possible, because we know exactly where we're going to be with this company. And I'll leave it at that and put it back to Stephen. And Stephen, again, publicly in front of everyone, thank you so much. And thank you also, Carol Lavers. You're both brilliant, wonderful people. Go ahead, please.
Unmuted.
Well, thank you very much, David, and you're welcome. And look, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, friends, because I know that we've got people all around the world here in large gatherings. But just to give you my spin on the webinar, look, all I'd like you to do, if you could, and you don't need to do this now, but take a moment in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, when you can find a quiet moment, reflect on what has been shared with you today. It's specifically about the YOBSN products and what's happening with those YOBSN products. Like, there's been so much shared today, from the YOBSN Trusted Owners Program and so much more. But just focus on YOBSN itself, just for this particular exercise, and focus on those things that David was talking about. We're talking about what's already happened with the desktop. Like, some of those announcements today are incredible. Like, did you hear, like, I had to really check and hear several times to make sure, and I was glad that Ken actually asked David to repeat it, because we know about our Social Point program, but this social integration that we have, where with the contest that's going on at the moment, for example, with the Bubble Champion, where you can have your avatar is going to appear in the game, but it's going to appear giving gifts. And continuously giving gifts. And the company's doing that on your behalf, so that you're going to be looking like the good guy. And so you're going to be building connections and relationships with all of your free members. And many of those gifts are going to be social points. And then when your free members go and buy stuff with those social points, you're going to make money. Like, did you hear that? Like, it's absolutely incredible. And that's, so just take a moment to actually reflect on some of the things that have been mentioned, like the Trick Photography Hero, like the upgrades to the desktop, like all the social games being released and the social games on the desktop, all of those things. And just imagine that all of those things are in place. You've gone off into the future, whatever time that you feel that it's going to happen for you, and all of those things are in place. They're all happened. What do you think is going to happen with YOBSN? What is that going to mean for you and your life and the lives of your loved ones? Think about that. And then once you can absolutely understand that, and as Ken mentioned, to choose. So you can choose to believe that's going to happen, or you could choose to believe it's not going to happen. I believe after today's webinar, how could you absolutely not understand that it's going to happen? But that's okay if you choose not to. But if you're one of the ones who can realize and choose that it is going to happen, and you know it's going to happen, see, for me, I know it in every part of my being. In every part of me, it's in my core. I know what this company is doing. And for me, as Carol mentioned, we talk about this often, that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I personally do not believe that I will ever see an opportunity of the magnitude of what I have in my hands, and that means each and every one of us have that same opportunity. But what are you going to do with it? What are you going to choose today, tomorrow, next week, next month? You can choose to sit back and wait on the station. Look at that wonderful YOBSN Express train that's going along and it's powering forward with or without you. We would love all of you and then all of the people you want to share it with to be on that train with us. But you have to choose to be on that journey with us. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to make a difference in so many people's lives all around the world. Why not you? That's my message for everyone today. And, thank you again, David and Ken and Carol. Incredible introduction. Wonderful. And I have to disagree with you. I believe you give a lot better introduction than me, and you can do them forevermore as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Carol.
Oh, thank you so much, Stephen. Hey, I was getting you to wrap up. So, look, I'm going to leave it at that, everybody. It has been an absolutely phenomenal webinar. And thank you so much, David, for this opportunity. I mean, I just know that we are all absolutely blessed. And it's so great to have Ken on board and Steve Williams. I'm thrilled that he's involved in marketing because it's been great working with him. And now we got him, as our Vice President of marketing. That is just wonderful. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and being here. And let's take action. Let's make it happen for everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye now.